Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thought Variable. This is episode 3. Today, I guess I was going to have a guest appearance. However, that individual had some real life things going on. It just didn't work out, couldn't make it. So we're going to go ahead and press. I'll just talk about one of my favorite subjects, time travel. So, if I said I would like to make an attempt to progress in the theory and practical application of time travel, I think most people would laugh, including people, scientists or academics, as well as non-academics, because there's all sorts of things that are not meant for us to pursue, and that's one of them. And when I say us, I just mean the general populace being marketed to. So that's not the case for me. Those rules don't apply. I feel like that I'm someone who has the ability to pursue and maybe even attain something that no one else in the world can do. That may sound arrogant, it may sound crazy, but that's how I feel. So cool. I'm going to do it, and then whatever comes of it doesn't matter. And in academics, a lot of times, especially, let's say, for example, one of my first majors was physics. To get a physics doctorate, a lot of times you have to do something new. Most doctorates, you have to do something new. A new study, a new idea, whatever. So I just hate it when people tell me, and I've had a lot of people in my life tell me, oh, somebody's already done that. Oh, you can never do that because it's new. Well, how do you think new ideas show up? Okay, yeah, it's rare that there are actually people that come up with new ideas, but let's give it a shot. Time travel is, to me, the ability to perceive something that is not the normal rate that we experience. Let's say, for example, in physics, they will say in the textbooks, if I'm standing on the beach at sea level and I'm experiencing time pass by, and then I am standing on the very top of, let's say, Mount Everest or another tall mountain, I am so much higher elevated, and therefore if the Earth is a sphere and is spinning, and I am on an outer edge, and I am going at the same speed as someone on a much closer diameter or radius, I guess you would say, a much closer radius position, then I have a higher speed. I'm traveling a larger distance than the guy on, say, an inside lane running on a track, or whatever you might want to look at it as, whatever analogy you want to make. These are all true according to math. So what I would say is, if you're traveling really fast, if you're traveling at a different relative distance, then it's entirely possible to experience time at a different rate. And you might say, oh, well, it's just relative. What I'm experiencing seems like a normal rate. It's only differing compared to what has passed by at another location, traveling at a different speed. This is true. However, what if you can move? What if you could move from an inside lane to an outside lane and then back to an inside lane? This is a fact. You can climb a mountain. You can climb back down the mountain. Now you're back at normal time, whatever. And you're saying, well, what use is that? Well, it's useful in the sense if this can be controlled, and if this can be more instantaneous, or if this can be more prolonged, or if this could be at a much greater difference of rate. So, the difference in rate being not just the height of a mountain or, whatever, but as you approach closer and closer to the speed of light, it becomes increasingly much different type of experience as compared to the normal rate of time. And just like they say, as you're traveling even just closer to the speed of light, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, the length of a meter stick is no longer a meter. All the physical properties of things change. And this can be very useful. It could be a great skill. It could be a great I don't know, like to me, it deems some sort of study, and so that's where I come in. For example, I can somewhat change my circumstances, change my state of mind, and possibly change my experience. Would it matter for those around me? In a way, yeah. Because let's say, for example, you travel very, very fast around, the galaxy and come back, just like in the textbook, which is the identical twin paradox, whatever. One spaceman goes up and comes back, and one is younger than the other. That's so once you come back and that you've traveled, you've been experiencing time at such a different rate that you were in fact years and years or whatever younger. That's an experience that everyone then can notice and say, oh wow, something happened, this guy experienced something, he's back, yet the rest of us, we're going at a completely different rate, and it's very noticeable. So what I wanted to do is I've been conducting a series of experiments. For example, I'd like to dream for an extended period of time. This is called, in a way, it's a form of hybrid meditation and lucid dreaming. The dream yogas talk about this. They speak in, I guess it's like a almost Hindu, almost, I don't know, Tibetan sort of belief where you can control what most scientific people determine as involuntary actions going on inside of your body. So, for example, when you wake within your dream and you realize you were in a dream, you are then what's called lucid. You are conscious yet experiencing an unconscious realm. And many will say, oh, what is this unconscious realm? And the basically the reason that we call it conscious and unconscious is these things are always happening at the same time. Your unconscious self is always awake, your conscious self is always awake, and then whatever your universal collective self is always awake, they say. However, as I was trying to point out, these may be layers or lanes in a track, you could say, where you could move in, you could move out, and when you're in this unconscious, I would say you're in your unconscious state, or what we call dream state, you're moving at a much faster rate. You're moving at the speed of thought. You're moving you're experiencing things much faster. And therefore, you are traveling at a higher speed in time, I would say. You are traveling through time faster, literally. But how can that be useful? Well, as I said, if you're lucid, you're in control, you are remembering these experiences, you are using that experience in a practical way once you get back, that becomes useful. Let's say, I'm in this dream, just like in the Matrix, where I learn piano or karate or whatever, and then I come back. When I wake up, it's been an hour. However, now I'm a master at the piano or at karate, whatever. That's just one example. But my experiments theorize that if you can stay in a dream longer and longer and longer and longer, right? Because some people might experience, I was only dreaming for an hour or two or minutes. However, I've had dreams that to my own senses seemed like they were several days long. My maximum record, whatever, from my count was 5 days within a dream state. I experienced what I felt was 5 days worth of experience within a dream. Whatever, how do you count that? Okay, whatever. But let's just say very lengthy. And if I could get to that skill, and I did, what if you could go longer? What if you could stay longer and longer and longer? If you could find patterns, if you could use anything that would help, like a metronome playing in the background in real life, or, theta waves, gamma waves, well, not gamma, alpha waves, beta waves, whatever, where they maybe tuning your brain waves from in the conscious realm, and then that somehow, what I'm saying is there could be a mechanism, there could be a machine that will assist or amplify this skill, and then as well as the member's practical application gains, just like you would getting better at basketball or whatever the case is, right? So then you can stay longer and longer and longer and longer, and then you can use this. And, there might be the other act where I think I mentioned before that if, a fireman running into a building, time seems to go by really quickly, or when you're having fun, time seems to go by really quickly. If you could adjust the speed of time to where you can experience it very, very fast or very, very slow, this is useful. This is amazing. And if you could prove that, set up a series of events that was predictable and that was, could be, used in other people in the same scenario, what you call where, you do a scientific experiment and it's repeatable. If you could do that and then just build from there, and then other people notice more things, you never know. What is it, several, generations from now or however long you might think, this skill could be so great that we could then do psychological travel, actual thought travel. It could get to that level. All we have to do is take the first step, and that's one of the things I'd like to do, one of the things I'd like to study, and this is just one form, one attempt, one avenue to try, because I have other ideas, as I mentioned. Once I get the time, I will pursue. But for now, that's just an example of one way where time travel could be possible. There's all these others, that you might feel like are way beyond our reach, but this one is beyond anyone's reach. And so I challenge everybody to, have an open mind, consider it, and maybe even give it a shot. Let's talk about, how would that look? How would that apply? So say, for example, some say that you can study others, as I said, generational build of knowledge, esoteric books, occult books, hidden knowledge, things passed down from generations, or just other religious books, or whatever you want to call it, where people have made these attempts for long periods of time and then just said, hey, try to do this. One thing they've tried in meditation, for example, you get yourself a mantra that you can repeat, a phrase or a word, an image, a logo, or whatever the case may be, an action that you repeat before going to sleep, and then you try to see it or repeat it as you're falling asleep, and then once you're in the dream, if you ever see it or can remember it or repeat it, you are then easier able to recognize that you are in a dream and wake up. This is just one possibility, one tactic. There's others. You put yourself into a trance-like state. As I mentioned, you can set your screen to blink at a theta wave or beta wave or whatever. You can have low light like candles. You can talk in a monotone voice, as I mentioned, with your sports, or if you've become more fine-tuned with your physical self, you can put yourself into a pattern, breathe in a pattern rate, 1 breath per minute, 2 breaths per minute, whatever it is, whatever it's best you can do. So let's say it's 5 breaths per minute, whatever. And then you just keep that pace, and you just keep your timing perfect. You focus on it so well that you can then do it without thinking about it, and it falls away. And this is similar to where when you're sleeping, say, for example, you're laying on your bed, you're in a certain, we would call, pose, but then suddenly, it doesn't matter what pose you're in, your body is in a repetitious state, in a loop that then forgets what pose it's in. And some say that this is what happens when you suddenly wake up and you jerk. It's because your body's jerking back to, your electrical body's jerking back to the position of your physical body. This is just an idea of how your mental projection of yourself sort of forgets where its physical self is. It becomes so focused on everything else that's going on, such as the dream state, or what you've been trying to target as your goal. Because some will do that. Some will say, oh, okay, I want to ask myself a specific, really important question. I repeat it a lot, and this is a mantra. And you repeat it, you go into your dream. Oh, I've been, I've trained myself that if I see a triangle and say triangle, I then wake up inside the dream, and then I remember my mantra that I've been repeating over and over and over and over. And then boom, I'm studying while I'm in there this specific question you've decided to ask yourself or whatever, and then you have your body on autopilot. Your mind is bringing in everything it's ever experienced, maybe even things from outside yourself. I've had experiences that I felt at the time did not come from me, but brain waves, if they are in fact being transmitted, could they not be received? And this could be whatever you might think where it's coming from. I don't know. But let's say, for example, it is coming from somewhere, and then you receive it, and then you process it, and you think about, you're supposed to not focus on anything, but then suddenly what you had asked and your goal and your question comes into focus. Then you do focus on it, and you're like, oh, wow, there's the answer. And then when you wake up, you remember it and write it down or whatever immediately, because we're not really sure. I don't know. Why is it that dreams disappear so quickly after you wake up, the memory of them? So that may be another skill we'd have to work on. But these are all just an idea. I don't want to go too long with this episode, but consider it. Consider time travel. Consider the practical application and skill and what you could do with that skill if you suddenly had it. You found yourself being able to, gain experience and somehow get better and better and better and build. That would be great, and I would love to do that. So that's my plan. And anyways, I'll leave you with that. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye.